Hi friends, Kelly here. Welcome to my channel. You might be wondering what we're up to today. Well, I have a whole pile of stuff here, and what I wanted to do today is really just kind of break down how it is I approach building a kit, so to speak, for a new project. And so I recently went through this process and I was getting ready to start the project, and I thought, well, this might be very beneficial and helpful to some of my friends out there. So I am going to clear my desk and take you along with kind of how I approach a new project and how I grab my supplies, what I'm looking for, and just kind of that whole process. So I'm not actually making anything in this video today. I am just going to show you how I get to that point when I am ready to start making. So let me clear all this away and we'll get started. So I'm going to start with my Janie journal and use this kind of as a reference point to show you just an idea of kind of where a project ended up, or is in the progress of, rather. If this is the first time you're seeing this journal, I will make sure to link the playlist below for the various things that are in here. Not everything has a video, but many things do. So I'm just going to open this up, and for those that have seen this journal, this is a refresher. For those new to my channel or new to this project, hi, welcome, hello, I'm Kelly. I'll just give you a quick idea of what this journal is. So this is what I call Janie's journal. This is Janie. This is a fictitious character in a very loose fictitious time period. It's really just kind of in the early 1900s, I think. What I did, this project, it's very near and dear to my heart, and it's a continuous progress. It's really a fun place to play, but it has kind of two themes. One is really central to it, and then one is kind of a secondary theme. But the main theme of this is, I'll flip to the back because that's actually where it is more of like a field notes journal. So anything to do with bugs, flowers, plants, mushrooms, animals, so entomology, botany, herbology, all the ologies that I don't know about. That is really the central theme of this portion of the book. This portion is more about Janie and her travels and her memory keeping. So this kind of does have two different themes going, but it goes together in just the style, which is kind of a grungy junk journal. So as you can see, lots of butterflies. There's kind of more of like science-y, naturalist kind of things, like specimen slides, pockets, tags, all of the things that go with it. And yeah, so all of these kinds of things. So why I pulled this out is because this is a prime example of what this video's intention is for, is to help you think through a little bit of how you want to gather supplies for a project. If you're like me, you have so much stuff in your stash that it's really difficult to just start doing something and then running around and pulling things, and it gets a little daunting and almost debilitating. So what I like to do is create my own kind of kit. I shop my stash and I create a kit. So I'm going to take out, let's see, this project here, because this is a good idea, or a good example rather. Hopefully it comes out without a problem. So this is an elastic binding signature. So beautiful thing about that is things can come out. Let's see, make sure this isn't part of it. Nope, it's not. Okay, so here's a great example. So you could certainly do this for any style project. It can be as monumental as a junk journal like this that you build a kit for, that you just keep working out of, which I think is a fantastic idea. However, you can also build one that's going to be for a smaller project. And later in the video, I'm going to go through some projects and just kind of talk through how do you decide what type of project. But before I get there, just wanted to show off a project that really kind of highlights this idea. So you can see this is very cohesive. It's got all the things of this project that I really wanted, which again was birds and bugs and butterflies and plants and all of the naturey things, mushrooms, whatever it is. So you can see this whole thing throughout has all of those elements. And it was so much easier to do because I had all that stuff kind of gathered. This is a project I did last year or 2 years ago. It's been a while. So honestly, at that time, I didn't have as much stuff in this kind of Tim Holtzy grungy vibe as I do now. Now I have so much more. So it's super important for me to be able to pull together a kit. But this project is so cool. It's this accordion style. Hopefully that's showing up well. It's 2 pieces of paper that are joined to create this accordion little pamphlet project thing. And then you can expand on it, of course, by adding in tip-ins and just kind of make it bigger. So it ends up creating some natural pockets for big tags like that. And so this is actually a really great beginner project. This is a project that I was inspired to make from Margaret at 7 Plaza. I'll just go ahead and link her, because if you're not familiar with her, you just need to go check her out. She has so many cool things. She's a huge inspiration for me. So this is a project that you could easily take this concept, this idea I'm going to share with you, and create something like this. And it's super fun. Okay, so let me talk through how I start kind of gathering everything up to do a project like this. So where do you start? How do you get to a point where you know there's a project you want to do? Well, that can happen in a number of different ways. And honestly, this whole process that I go through, it's really not in a linear start to finish. All of these things I'm about to show you can happen at various times where I start. But ultimately, you have to have a starting point. And when I think of a project, it's usually inspiration from something I've found on social media, be it Instagram, Pinterest, or YouTube is a huge, huge place for inspiration. Obviously, because you're here watching this, hopefully you're here for inspiration. So honestly, most of the time it's just because I saw a project or I saw something that made me think, oh, that sparks an idea. I want to do something like that. My favorite theme of junk journaling is definitely nature. Anything with nature. So it's very easy for me to want to jump in. So for example, here is a digital that I have purchased from Margaret at 7 Plaza, and I'll make sure to link her Ko-Fi site. Ko-Fi? I don't know. Whatever. I struggle with that all the time. But this piece right here, this is a beautiful kit that she created. I do believe it is called Field Notes. And this alone just sparks so much joy and interest. And I just want to jump in and like cut all of these things out and make something cool. So that's a great example of just somebody else inspiring me. Another thing that could be very inspiring is, this is kind of a banged up piece, but Etsy. I love digitals. I'm a huge fan of digitals, especially because I'm in the US. We don't have access to nearly as many cool, vintage, authentic pieces. Well, we probably do. I just don't know where to look. I live in a very boring area. So it's not super easy for me to go and hunt and peck for it. Plus, I'm a busy mom. I have a job. I have a husband who's battling an illness right now. I have 2 kids that are it's summer, so they're getting ready to go back to school. But I don't have time to go scouring thrift shops and vintage shops and antique shops. So I rely on people that have done the work, scanned it, and I am happy to pay a couple bucks for it. And honestly, that's the beauty of digitals, is it's really affordable. So I might be cruising through Etsy sometime looking at some of my favorite shops, and I will link below my favorites. I kind of curate my own Etsy favorites, so you can just plow through there. You'll see it. I'm not going to be able to point out every one of these because I have no idea anymore, but just go through there, have some fun browsing, and you'll be in a rabbit hole. I apologize, and also you're welcome. But here's a great example of a digital I came across that just, it's so cool. It's like a built-in field notes. There's some photographs, there's some text, there's this whole page could be cut out. This one can be. There's already some holes from it being hole punched and in something, but this rate alone has so much potential. You can cut out the little photos. You can make really cool, interesting collage backgrounds or tags with the text. All of this. You can even use the negative space right here to stamp something to make your own little label. Like, there's so much that you can get out of just this page. This was a little kit, and I do believe this was a page from it as well. So again, there are people that have curated a kit that is themed, and you can just, that's it. That's all you need. I have several of those that I've purchased that you can make a whole entire project out of without having to get anything more. But if you're like me and you have all the stuff and you want to use all the stuff, then you got to start figuring out what to do. So what I do with digitals is, often if they're ones that I really love and I know I want to use, I'm never going to use them unless I print them. So I don't print everything when I buy it, but there are definitely some that I will go ahead and I will just do a print, a mass print. I have an ink subscription, so that's very affordable for me. I don't worry about how much ink is going to be laid down on a sheet of paper. I just go for it. So I'll just flip through quickly a couple of these, so you can just kind of get an idea of what I've put into this little project kit. And some of these are brand new that I just got this summer. I haven't had much time to craft, so I've been really excited to get into this. But for, you know, here's another great example that's already got projects for you. You just cut them out, you add them into your already existing project. All the little doodads you need. It's so cool. Postcards, you know, so this idea of this kit for me, what I'm looking for are things like this that I can cut out. This is cut, you can cut this out, you can cut this out, you can make a tag, you could, this is so versatile. Thank you, Margaret. I love this. I love all her kits. They're fantastic. Again, I already kind of talked through what you could do with that. Same thing here. So much background use that can be collaged and layered. Here are just some beautiful tags you can cut out, projects you can cut out. And then for me, I know that this postcards are going to be something I can definitely use in it, because in my mind, this project I'm doing is, I always like to have kind of a central character. So in my mind, this project is going to be the field journal of an explorer or a scientist out in the field. So things that can go along with that are maybe aspects of their travel to where they're going and the different places they're visiting to discover these really cool things. So postcards for me fit into this project. Blank piece of paper. Oh, I know why there's a blank piece of paper, because I broke this down for you guys into sections so that it's manageable. So I will clear this off. The whole point of this was to really talk about Etsy finds, digitals, and how versatile different things can be. Okay, so moving on. Dovetailing from what I just talked about with Etsy finds and things like that, here are some more of those. I'll just kind of go through and flip through these again and point out a few more things that I'm looking for this project. This is a really great one because it has these pieces here that can be cut apart and made into like really cool little tags or dangles or things. Definitely you can use these. Pieces like this are really great because this strip, it's a belly band from Sparkbird Studios. That's a new one to me. But this could be totally made into anything. Same thing with this piece here. You can do a lot with that. This is great. You can fussy cut all of these, or you could use it as a background page. Again, some different elements that you can use to, which way is this going? I don't know. To really add versatility to what it is you're gathering. So a page like this, I look at it and I see tags and little numbers and little background. And so this is, again, very versatile. Here's more of those little tags, tickets, whatever they are. This, I believe I got actually free online images. And then I just opened up a blank document in Canva and plugged them all in so I could print them myself. Possibly, or they might have come from this by J. Lilu. I do that every time. That might be where this is from. I don't remember, but that's one thing I will do sometimes. Library cards, tickets, tags, all of these things fit into this. Look at this. This is so beautiful. I'm so excited to use it. It's got some really cool, interesting images on it. So that's, again, super versatile. There's stamps. There's this little thing can be cut out. Oh, this could be fussy cut. You could cut this down. You wouldn't even know it was a postcard and make it into a pocket. So very, very cool. Look at that big dragonfly. I just love it. I love it. I love it. So I'll just keep flipping through some of these. Again, here's another really great page that's got flowers and really neat labels, things that can be used. Again, how beautiful is this? I'm so excited to use this and make a project, which I'm going to get to, obviously, because now I built a kit. So let me just kind of keep flipping through some of these beautiful, beautiful images that can be fussy cut out. And, you know, this doesn't have to be a tag. You can fussy cut that out, make it really cool. Same thing with some of these. I don't really love fussy cutting, but, you know, it's doable. Something like this is really great because this could actually be a journal cover. Same with that. So that's really versatile. Then you get, again, into kits where you have things that are already projects kind of designed for you. You just cut and make them. Again, here's another piece from Margaret's Field Notes. That could be its own journal cover or something. Okay, so I guess that was like a two-parter on Etsy and digitals. But I really am a big fan of them. I think they're super versatile, super inexpensive, and there's so many beautiful finds out there. So definitely check out digitals. If you've never done digitals, I would highly recommend you give it a try. Another thing that I like to add are background papers. So that can be a number of different ways. I'm going to come back to this page in a second because I want to talk about that one specifically. But here's a great example of background papers. This is actually scrapbook paper. So go through your scrapbook paper and find things that you can use. I would probably use the side more than I would use the side, but this could also be very versatile because if you think about, if you're looking for something to make a card or a tag, you could cut this and you could, if you cut it that way, you could have just a little bit peeking. So if I did it more like this, like cut it in a tag shape, and then you don't have as much of the doily. It's not much of a focal point, but that's actually beautiful and you could probably really use that. So I put that in this kit because I think it'll be something that I can use, especially the back side. Here are some offcuts from a project I did that are just kind of like journal paper. So this I put in here because I thought I don't know what this project's going to be yet, but it could end up being something where I can tip in like a small little booklet or something. So I put those in there. And then things like this are great for background, especially again because of the theme I'm going with is like a journal of an explorer, a scientist. So anything with ledger, graphs, writing, things like that, excellent. So this says Chief Engineer's Log. Well, it's a log of some sort. So great. This is printed. Another quick thing is the different weight of paper. I don't really know what I'm going to make yet. But background papers, I know I'm going to be probably layering stuff on top of. So I usually have a nice little collection of background papers that are a little bit thinner paper. So this is 20 pound, no? 32 pound. I had to think about that for a sec. This is 32 pound paper. So, and it's like butter. I love it so much. So that's what this is printed on, just to give me a little bit more flexibility with how much bulk I'm putting into a journal. Same with this. This is actually on regular copy paper. And again, this is a regular scrapbook paper. So a couple of different weights there. I also print, this one, on the Canon photomat paper, which I think I'll have to look again. I can never remember what the weight of it is, but it's like a matte photo paper. You know what? I'll look at the weight right now. Let me find out. This is the product. It is 45 pound, apparently, or 170 GM, whatever that means. That's for all of you not in my country, apparently. But this is the stuff I buy. Pretty inexpensive. It ranges anywhere from $5.99 to $7.99 on Amazon. I actually have it on subscription, so I get a pack of this every 2 months currently, or maybe it's every month. I change it sometimes depending on how much I'm doing. Like Christmas time, I probably shouldn't do it at all because I want to do crafting at Christmas. I don't, but I tend to get more. Okay, so again, this one's copy paper. Here's another page that I printed for background. I will say that this might be a little bit harder for me to use because it's more brighter colors and there's a lot going on, so it might be difficult for me to put something over it. But I also feel like this could be really great for maybe like a window. So if I had something with acetate and then this is a window behind it, but then something's going to go in front of it like a card or something, that would be a great use for this. So again, this is on that photo paper. And here, same thing with this one. Same thing. I don't know that this would be a primary background page for just a journal page, but it might do really well for behind a pocket or lining something to that nature. And ultimately, I also can just cut it apart because there's a lot of beautiful images here. Got to have some good ledger. This is fantastic. I love this stuff. This is like one of those that I would print out multiple times, and I might even open it up in Canva and change the opacity of it so it's a little more opaque or transparent. I might have used those words interchangeably, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. Here's another great example, and this one, and this one. So where do I get these background papers? Well, honestly, a lot of these are from kits I've purchased, digital kits, and a lot of times a designer will include 1 or 2, maybe more background papers. I like to try to keep track of which ones have really good background papers. Sometimes I might even pull them out and create a folder on my computer that's just background papers, so I know where to go. And speaking of which, I'll just real quick say that for me, I get frustrated and also completely appreciate, all in the same breath, designers when they give you the files as a JPEG or a PDF. So here's my thing on this. I prefer PDF. It's easier to just quickly print. I don't want to have to format anything. I don't have to drag photos, and that's just my preference. However, I know how to take a JPEG and turn it into a PDF. And that's because I use the software program. It's an online version or online program called Canva. You can do it in the free version. I pay for the pro version, but you can drag in your photos that you purchase and turn them into a PDF through downloading it and saving it as PDF. So sometimes what I do is I will just create a whole bunch of the backgrounds and then save them as just one big PDF in my background folder. If this is something that's interesting to you, to how to organize or how to manage the digitals that you purchase, and you have questions about that and could use a tutorial, please drop me a comment. I love to do tutorials on things like that. Haven't done one in a long time. I'd be happy to create one if it is helpful to many of you out there. Okay, so last thing about background papers is they're excellent to print on the back side of your other pieces, your projects, your pieces that you're going to cut out to make the ephemera and everything that goes into your project. So for example, this is a page of tickets, not tickets, these are tags, and I know that I will probably use these in a project, cut them out as tags, and I would maybe like to have something on either side. So when I printed it, I went ahead and printed it with a background paper. The background paper, as you can see, goes further than the actual tag. So that extra portion I will keep in my scrap bin and use to stamp things onto or use as little bits for collage, things like that. So it won't get wasted. It will get used, but that way I already have that ready to go. Also, let's say I had this printed out, not two-sided, and all of a sudden I knew I wanted to do that. Let's be honest, I'm probably not going to do this, but if you were somebody that actually took the time to do things like this, you could run this back through your printer and just print on the other side if you changed your mind. I wouldn't, because I'm lazy. So there you are. I probably just wouldn't. I'd just make it work. I'd probably just glue paper to the back of it because I'm lazy and I actually like to do things the hard way. Okay, moving on. Okay, I like to call this project scraps. So these are just pieces that I pulled out that are scraps from other projects. And it's simple as pieces of paper. This is from a manila folder. And actually what I will show you real quick is on my desk, if I can do this without knocking it over, is actually a little bin of paper scraps. So I always have access to this. This is all scraps left over from projects. So this is always available to me. I use this for collaging and just bits and pieces of scraps when I just need maybe a little text or a little bit of color. So I always have access to that. But I also like to create a kit that I can take with me. So for example, a week ago, my family and I went on a family vacation, and everything that I'm pulling out today, I actually brought with me. So this was a kit I created that I could travel with and create. Unfortunately, I didn't do any of that, but I mean, it's good. We were having fun. We were on the lake, on the boat, doing all the things. So me not crafting was okay because I ended up having no time to do it because I was having fun doing all the other stuff. But going to a crafty retreat, going away on a solo retreat, things like that, this is a great example of how I build a kit to take with me. And that way, maybe I don't have access to my scrap bin, but I would take some stuff out of that and put it into this particular pile. So again, just scraps of paper. This is some scrap from it was like a pamphlet or brochure from a state park that I went to for a hike. And there's also things in here like experiments. So here is a piece of paper towel that I stamped on and covered with Mod Podge, I think, or collage medium or something, and just tried to get a different texture. So that's something I can use. Here's an extra page from a little passport book that I It's a digital that I downloaded and created a cute little passport. Well, I had too many pages, but this could be used for sure. Here is something from one of those digital kits that I purchased that's a complete kit with the whole theme ready to go. I cut this out and I just didn't use it or make it. So I threw that in. Here's another one of those. Here is a postcard from a digital kit that I had already cut to use for something else, and I didn't, so I'd take that. Here's some text. Here's just a cut end of another digital with some interesting stuff on it, especially this tape here, that or ledger that looks like it's some sort of measurements. That would be great in this. Some book cover or some vintage book pages, tickets and labels, and then here are some more experimental pieces, but it fits with the bugs and stuff. This is Tim Holtz collage paper that I actually just glued down to a piece of paper and put collage medium over so I would have it so I could cut it out and do things with it. So this was I think this was a project I just did one day when I was sitting and watching YouTube and was putzing around. So here's another piece so that you can, it's kind of neat because you can see the book page behind it. Same with this one. You can see the book page in there. So this is already ready to go for me to just use. Like here, you can see the image from the book page kind of peeking through, kind of changes the look. So I just put those in this kit so I could have some collage paper if I wanted it and, you know, actually use these things and play with it. So really this whole pile would be all of the bits and pieces that are left over from other projects that I haven't used that need to get used up. So I keep a bin near my desk with this kind of stuff in it, and I just rifled through it, picked out a few things, and again, I'd probably put maybe some more scraps in it, but I also knew I brought enough digitals for this kit that I'd have scraps to work from. So that would be your project scraps. Next up, I have vintage book pages. So these are actual physical book pages that I've pulled out of vintage books. So there's just a whole bunch of scrap pages here. I also knew, obviously, the theme, so I pulled some out that made sense to what I was doing. So you've got trees, birds, just book pages with text, if I could get my fingers to work. So just text. Here's a map. Here's some images of ferns, a table, bird parts. This is a cool index with a ruler. So I really tried to pull pages out of my collection that had things that I could use for this particular project. So mushrooms, more birds. So these were all out of vintage field guide books. Let's see what else is in here. I also happen to have some pages that are not really related to nature and birds and all the things. This is a piece of a cookbook. Again, got some really good text. This is a page out of a dictionary. This is actually out of a Bible. It's out, to be fair, this Bible was falling apart, and it's also in a language I don't speak. So I felt no guilt. I didn't really destroy it. It was already destroyed when it came to me. I'm just using it. I think the Lord would be fine with that. And then here's some pages out of a gardening book. It's got some cute images on the bottom and some text. So really any vintage book. Now, I will tell you that when I get a book like this, I do not, let me rephrase that. I'm not willy-nilly just ripping the book apart and using the pages. I'm kind of strategic about my books, and I know for a page like this, a beautiful picture like this, a map especially, like this page with the silhouettes, I know I'm going to want to use that again. I just know it because it's cool, it's beautiful, and I can think of 100 different ways I'd want to use this. So it's more likely that I would hoard this. However, what I have done is I have gone through methodically my books. Sometimes I just sit down and that's my crafty time. I take apart a book and then I pull out all these pages that I know I love and would want to do something with over and over and over again, and I scan them so that I can not feel bad about using the actual page because I know I could print it again. And I'm confident in my grungy skills at this point of taking a printed piece of paper and turning it into what looks like it could be an authentic vintage book page. I'm totally comfortable with that. I love that process, so that works for me. So with that, let me move on to the next section. Let's talk about those scans. So these are going to be some pages that I scanned out of books. So this is, go to this one here. Right here, you can see it's Field Guide to Butterflies. This is a beautiful page. I want to use this multiple times. This too. This is a great page because it's got this cute little bit that you could cut apart, make into a cute little tag, and then you've just got that color of paper that you can stamp off and make cards and tags and labels and tickets and stuff like that. So I like scanning the plain pages of a book too, just so I can capture that same colored paper. And then again, this is on that photo mat paper, so it prints really, really nice. Here's another example of book pages. So here's a great example of how you can alter those book pages. So this is going to be probably true to size. Let me grab a page from this book or similar book and we'll look at it. So this page is very similar from a similar book. You can see it's not exactly the same size, but it's very, very close. So this was just printed straight from the file that I printed or that I scanned. Then you get to a page like this, and this page, I'll grab one from this book so you can see the scale. So here's a page from this book. You can see the scale. It's much larger in person. So this is a smaller version, which is great because I can use this as it is. I can fussy cut it out. The other reason why I love that I scanned this book is maybe you can see that there's a bit of a sheen to it. It's not matte. It's a little glossy, not super glossy, but it definitely has a sheen to it, which is okay, but sometimes I don't want that. So I know that I can have a page like this in my scans and I can print it out and actually end up with a matte paper. So if you have those kinds of books that have really glossy pages, like books out of flowers, I have one actually, it's a book about flowers. I haven't used it because it's glossy and I don't put glossy work into my projects. However, if I scan those pages and print them onto a matte paper, that's a game changer. So don't worry about those books with pages that you don't love. If you're a matte person and it's glossy, you can take the gloss away by scanning it and printing it yourself. That is a trick that I have used and always been happy with. So that's a good example of how you can change the scale. How did I do that? Again, through Canva. So I just scanned all my images, and I do save them as PNGs. That's my preference. And then I create my own PDF, or I just have them as a PNG that I can then drag into Canva and make into a page like this. Here's another example of this book is not this tiny. It's probably about this big. So I just dragged that in because I wanted to fit it on this page, made it into these smaller, cuter little cards. So that'll be super fun to use. Here's a page out of this butterfly book, but I shrunk it down. And this is also a page out of a book. Another thing that you can use, I don't have any printed right now, but would be your vintage photographs that you have. Scan your vintage photos so that you can use them over and over. You can scale them up, down. I've done that plenty of times, especially in a project where it's like I want a really cute little picture. Well, I have a scan of a photo that I can alter to make it smaller. So I'm a big fan of scans. It's time consuming. Yes, it takes a little bit of patience. Yes, but if you carve out some time, especially if you're like, okay, I have an hour to do something creative, maybe your creativity is spent on taking apart a book or scanning some pages. Sometimes we have to do the nitty-gritty work to get to the creativity. Okay, so moving on. So what if you don't have a huge collection yet of project scraps, digitals, book pages, things like that? There are products out there you can purchase in a kit that has pretty much all of that. So this is a representation of a kit. These all came, I believe, these all came out of the same kit that I didn't actually purchase this, but I'm going to. My best friend purchased it for her girls and my girls to play with when we were on our vacation last week. And it came with washi tape, papers, I think stickers. I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back and look at it. But I am going to link it below because I'm also going to purchase it. My 14-year-old daughter got to play with it a lot more than I did. I just took a few samples out of it. And she loved it. She said, can I get this? I want one of these myself. And she also found one that had birds and I think one with mushrooms. So she thought it was super cool. So here's a great example of how you can just, if you want some physical product, you don't want to have to do the printing, digitals and all that. You can find things on Amazon that would get all of that for you. So like here's an example. There's some background paper. This is cool. It's like a vellum piece. So you could do a lot with that. Then there's some smaller pieces that could be used as journal cards. You could cut them out into tags, things like that. Like here, this is perforated. It comes apart like a stamp kind of. So there's definitely products out there that you can use. Now let's say you get something like this and it's kind of glossy. If you've been following me, you would have seen my trick, but if not, I will tell you, here's my trick. Invest in antique linen. Because if you take antique linen oxide, I don't know about the ink because I don't have that one, but I use the oxide, and you take your, it's not the right dauber, but it doesn't matter. You take your ink and you just lightly go over it. It takes off that shiny bit, and now you're left with kind of more of that opaque matte finish. So that is, I would definitely invest in antique linen. In fact, if I were to invest, if you have no inks yet and you had to invest, these are the three I would probably invest in first. Tea dye, antique linen, and vintage photo. My absolute favorites for distressing and inking. There's a little side note bonus for you. Okay, moving on. Stickers and washi tape. So here are some examples of stickers that I have. These are, again, a collection from Amazon. I actually only have the two. My best friend had bought these, and I just nabbed a couple. I know how they work because I saw my niece doing it, but you peel it apart, and then you could stick, she was actually sticking little bits of nature in it. I'm not going to do it because I have no nails, but you peel it apart, and then you can stick something in it. It comes like this clear bottle. You could easily do the same thing with a sticker or a die cut or anything really. Maybe even a rub-on. I don't know about rub-ons. I don't use a lot of those, but you can see that you could definitely put something in there. So these are fun. These are on Amazon. I'm going to try to find those and link those. So hopefully that link is below. These stickers actually might have come in that physical kit I was just talking about because I got these from my friend, and these were a purchase on Amazon. But you can find loads of things like this, stickers that you can find. These ones are interesting because they have kind of a vellumy kind of finish to them. So those are super cool, almost like a rub-on because it would become transparent in the background. So those are fun to have, especially for this field notes kind of vibe. It's almost like you gathered, these are kind of little, but gathered flowers specimens. These are some stickers I got from my friends over at the First Love Club. It's the vintage tape. I know Tim Holtz also has a product out now that is vintage tape kind of stuff, but I've been using this for years. This is from the Reset Girl and the First Love Club. So I do believe this is a current product you can purchase. I will, if it is, I will link it. Otherwise, I know Tim Holtz has one. But this is a really, really fun thing to use, especially on vintage style projects. And then washi tape. Washi tape is another great example. So these ones are really fun. They look like measuring tapes. I actually got these from Illustrated Faith, and I don't know if they still have those available. I'm sure you can find something like it. And then this probably came from, I don't remember what this one came from. Let's be honest. We all have about a bajillion rolls of washi tape. I can't remember where they all came from. It looks like it might have been, what's that brand? The Bow Bunny or Maggie Holmes or something like that, but it's just a floral washi tape. But these ones, I do believe all of these actually, not this one. This one, I don't know where this one came from either. It's got butterflies on it. That's probably Illustrated Faith or something like it. I buy a lot of washi tape from them. I like their designs. But these, I happen to know, maybe not that one, but pretty much, I'm almost sure of it. These all came in a kit that I bought on Amazon for probably like, I don't know, 10, 11 bucks. I'll try to link it if I can. These are really great because there's a lot going on these. These are a nature one. It's really hard to know what you're getting when you purchase on Amazon, but hopefully you'll be able to kind of see this. It's got butterflies, squirrel, mushrooms, and then just kind of some text and words, birds. So that's a really great one. Something like that. This one has bugs. If I can find the end. Here it is. So this one has these kind of bugs and sketches and definitely feels like it's in the journal of an explorer. This one is actually kind of looks like stamps. So that's a cool one. You can definitely cut it apart so you can make it look like you have stamps. And this one as well. Could look like stamps or just little, make a little grid with these butterflies as specimens that are in your little notebook. So washi tape can go a long way. You can get a lot of use, especially if you get ones that have a lot of different design on one roll. Big fan of that. So these are fun to work with. So stickers and washi tape. Focal point. These are Tim Holtz, what are they called? Snapshots. These are photos, but you could also use your own collection of vintage photos, and you can also find vintage photos on Etsy as digitals. But these ones I happen to have. I don't know which pack they are. I combine all my snapshots. I think that's what they're called, Tim Holtz snapshots. I believe that's what they're called. I don't have any of the packaging anymore. I kind of dismantle that stuff. I don't want all those packages, well, most of the time. So at any rate, I went through all of my snapshots and I pulled out a collection so that I have some focal points. Because again, the theme of my project I want to work on is like it's a scientist or explorer's kind of journal, field notes journal. So putting people into my journal makes sense for me. So these ones kind of jumped out at me as potentially like groups of explorers, scientists, whatever they're doing. Maybe, that's where they stayed or their favorite place to go and gather to debrief, whatever it is. So I pulled out a collection of those. But again, you could use anything for your focal point, but just having something that will be your focal point will kind of help drive you when you get to your project. And maybe that you want to do something with birds, or maybe you want to do something with paper dolls, vintage paper dolls, whatever it is. Maybe that's something you grab and you create a curated little collection of those focal points that you're going to want to highlight throughout your project, be it birds, butterflies, people, whatever. I think having a small set, not so many that you're overwhelmed, but enough that you feel like you have something to work with, can be very helpful. So you're not digging through all your stuff when you get to that point where you're like, oh, this needs a focal point. So this is going to be my focal point, or one of my focal points for this field notes project I'm going to embark on soon. Okay, I like to call this the odds and ends, or Margaret would call it bits and bobs. Odds and ends is what I am kind of familiar with, so that's what this is. This is kind of a little bit of all the things I just talked about, in a sense. So I went through my collections of stuff. And so let me pull out a few of those boxes and packages so I can show you a little bit of how I keep them organized when I'm not working on a project. So here is my slightly chaotic organization. This is kind of how I keep all of these odds and ends to some degree organized. So I love these little boxes. These are some transparent stickers I have. Again, here are all my snapshots, my Tim Holtz snapshots. I do have the packaging for a couple, I think, so I could do a quick glance. So like this is snapshots, whatever it is. I don't even know. It doesn't even say which one it is. So there you go. And then again, more of these like little, I think they're actually photo boxes. So I keep a collection of that stuff. So that's one of them. Real quick, this is funny. I know I accidentally bought one of these packages multiple times because here's two of the same photos. So that's another thing you do. Buy it multiple times. Here's a cigar box that I picked up that's got basically all Tim Holtz ephemera pieces. It looks like I probably kept one piece of the packaging, so I would maybe have an idea what's in here. But honestly, it doesn't matter to me. I kind of like just the randomness of whatever I have. So this is the ephemera pack. Memorabilia? Ephemera pack? Memoir. Whatever. So that's one thing. These two boxes are boxes that I collaged myself. This was inspired by a Margaret project. This one here has, I'll give you a guess, has photographs. So this is all of my Photomatic, I think that's what they're called. I'm really clearly not really good at remembering what they're called. Oh, look, here's the snapshots thing. So I did keep those. This is where I keep all of, well, whatever these are called, Photomatic, photo booth, whatever. I also keep in here just the little odds and ends of photos that I've cut apart. So I just kind of have a place for them all to go. And then when I collage this box, I just used scrap photos. This one is for, because I love this theme, field notes kind of theme, so much. This is my box that I keep most of the scraps. And I haven't opened it in a while, apparently. There we go. So in here is a lot of labels and tags, some odd things like, for example, here's some not transparencies. Well, they are transparencies, but they're on, I ran a transparency or a piece of vellum, I forget, transparency, through my printer. I didn't like how the ink was setting up. It felt like it was going to smear. So then I ran that through my laminator, through a clear laminating sheet. So those are great for specimen slides. So all of those kinds of things are in this little box. I have this little box. This is a newer piece. Not easy to open. This is where I just keep my Tim Holtz style, or it pretty much is all Tim Holtz, the little snippets things. So they're really little. I also have some of those coin collector disky thingies in here, these little gadgets. And then sometimes I'll just throw something in, like here I fussy cut apart a cut apart sheet from scrapbook paper, and then I separated out some of the tiny little photos. So these are all little odds and ends that I can grab. And then as I buy new stuff and I don't incorporate it into anything else, or I become overwhelmed with having too much, I just have this little bin next to me that I keep some of this stuff in. So these are all the newer things I've purchased and haven't played with because I haven't been crafting. So some of them are even duplicates, but basically all the Tim Holtz ephemera packs that I haven't gotten around to using. So there's layers, and this is keepsakes, palette, organic, remnants. Let's see what else is in here. I really like this Bo Bunny Brighton. It's got some really pretty, more feminine things on it. This is from Hobby Lobby. It's kind of more of a travel theme. And then there's transparent things and another transparent layers. So these kinds of things, right now, I just have them in that bin. Here are some, again, some odds and ends. Guess I'm taking you more of on a crafty room tour at this point, but tea bags that I've kind of kept to make some fun little things out of. So this is kind of a bin of, and then just randomly these. So that's nearby, but the reason why I talked about all of those is to show you that that's where this is coming from. So I basically took all of those things, not all at the same time. Oh, and I have one more bin. Oh, if I can grab it. This bin. This is a kind of a leftovers bin that I grab project-y stuff from too. At any rate, this is how I come up with this little pile of stuff. If I had all that stuff, which I do have access to it, it's sitting right next to me. But if I want to create a kit and I don't want to be overwhelmed by that and hunting and pecking and spending 20 minutes looking for a tag, and I want to limit my choices, I will spend some time going through each of those bins and boxes and just pull out some things that inspire me in the moment. And then I'm just left with a smaller collection. So real quick, if I just kind of bop through here, you'll see basically where that stuff comes into. And this is going to incorporate some of the stuff I've already talked about. Project scraps, snippets. Here's something I made. These are these little tags, little tabs that I made. A whole bunch of one day I sat down, threw that in there. These are cork labels. I don't know. Those came from my friend. Here's some of those transparent stickers. Again, those look great as like pressed flowers kind of things. You got labels, cut bits from other projects. Here's something I made. I altered it and inked it and just didn't use it in that project. A bunch of Tim Holtzy stuff. Other pieces from other projects that I just cut out. Digitals, book page, whatever that is. A slide specimen thingy. Here's a transparent thing. Just some little flowers. Ooh, it's a pretty bird. Tags, tickets, just an offcut of something. Here's a bit of map. Again, Tim Holtzy stuff. There's a little frame. So as you can see, it's not all bugs and butterflies and birds. It's a lot of the other stuff you can use. Like this would be really fun to then layer with a butterfly maybe, and then, you know, you put maybe, I don't know, oh, here, something transparent behind it. Like, isn't that lovely? Oh, this gets me so excited. I can't wait to work on this project. Stamps. Here's a pocket. This is probably one of the very first things I ever made, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was really fun to make. It definitely needs to be reinforced with something else. This would be a terrible pocket because it's on copy paper, but I have, you know, some of those things from my earlier things, offcuts. I know exactly what this came from. Let's see if there's anything else of interest in here. Layering stuff. Here is, did I make this? I think I did. This was from a project I made. Here's just a piece of paper I stamped and colored and played with. Some times I played with die cuts. That I have some labels. I think you're getting the picture pretty well here. This is really just all the things, odds and ends, as I said, that I just created a little pile of so I don't have to go through every one of those boxes. So I have this to just pull out if I need a tiny little snippet. I have it. Or I can take something like this and cut it apart and create it. So it really just also kind of pushes me to be more creative with what I have rather than relying on what I've purchased. So, oh, here's another little guy that got away. So that's that one. Okay, I have a few more things to run through, so let's move on. Let's talk about stamps. So I have an enormous collection of stamps, and this could even be pared down for this particular project, but I like to go through and just pull out some core stamp sets that I think I'll use a lot. Again, I have all my favorite stamps right over here next to me in my craft space, but if I was going to take this and go somewhere else, or if you're just starting out and you're like, I don't know what to invest in, I will share with you my favorite stamps for a project like this, and then hopefully that inspires you to figure out kind of where to go with this. So let's dive in. I have a bunch of different stuff here, so I'll just start with these things here. So this I actually just recently got. It's just a woodblock stamp. It's got some really beautiful flowers on it. I bought this because my daughter liked it too, and she's kind of into trying out junk journaling, and I thought, well, she could use this. It looks like it'd be really fun to color in, so that's another reason why I picked it up. Otherwise, I don't usually do these kind of stamps. They're kind of bulky and hard to, you know, organize, but this one's super cute. And ultimately, I thought this would be really good for my junk journal kit. I call it my true junk journal kit, where it's literally like scraps and bits and papers, and I keep it in one box and I tuck it away and I pull it out when I really just want to have a play. So this would be something I might just kind of throw into that box, but that's a great use. You can use woodblock stamps if you want. I do have one that I do keep out right here. It's a text one. This is super versatile, so there is a place for them. And then I have stamps like these. Go with these ones here. I pulled these two out. This is just a really fun big number. It's got some crinkly cracks and it looks like it could be very distressed. And this is one that has kind of more official looking stamp, like a seal kind of thing, and forms, a little bit of text. So this is a really good one. Now, let me just say, these ones are ones I bought on Amazon before I really started getting into junk journaling. Like, these were the first few that I bought that I was super excited about, and I didn't really grasp or understand that some of these designs get hijacked from designers. And so I'm actually not going to link these because I don't know for sure if these were hijacked from somebody else. I will just tell you, I got them on Amazon, and you can certainly search for yourself. But I don't want to endorse a stamp set that I can't fully know is not hijacked from somebody else. That makes me feel a little bad because I am somebody that has designed and put out my own stamps, had them manufactured, and if somebody came along and stole my ideas, I'd be, insert the word that you like. Okay, these are actually from Stampers Anonymous. I see I have a ticket in here. Well, let's That's a little itty bitty bonus, a snippet. These actually came with stencils. Now I'd love to be able to pull out the stencils they came with, but I have no memory. But I know if you go onto Stampers Anonymous and look for these, I purchased them actually from, one of them I purchased directly from Stampers Anonymous, and a couple I've gotten at Joann Fabrics. But they come with a stencil. I'll try to find one. Here's a good example. I don't know which one this came with, so we'll just pretend it came with this one. Doesn't really matter. You get them in a set like this. So it's got stamps from, I believe, a couple of different sets, Tim Holtz sets, and then a stencil that I think also represents a few different stencils. So this is, I think I paid anywhere from on sale like $11.99 to not on sale $18.99 maybe for a set like this. And they're a really good investment if you're just starting out. That's how I ended up purchasing a few of mine, because I just really couldn't, especially in the beginning when I wasn't sure how often I would use something like this, I couldn't pull the trigger on a $30 stamp set. I can now because I know that there's value there, but these are a really great economical way to start out, to get yourself in with a stencil and some stamps and just really kind of have a play with all this. So I love these. So I have several of them. But here's why I chose these particular ones. This one is by far one of my favorite stamp sets, not because of the mushrooms, but because of the splatter stamp. So this is from, I think it's from Field Notes and Tiny Toadstools, I think is where they come from, or I'm not really sure. But this stamp set right here, this little splatter one from Tiny Toadstool, I have on a block permanently. I use it so often. I just leave it on this block. So this has its own dedicated block, never comes off. So this is a great one because of the text, the splatters, of course the mushrooms, these fun little bits here, the figure here, a round piece. I like having a round element. Need I say more? This is definitely from Field Notes and Entomology, I believe. Again, it's got all the stuff, numbers and bugs and round things and tags and tabs and all the stuff, which I will pull out Field Notes so you can kind of see. There's some duplicates, this side up, and actually now I think I have this side up yet again somewhere. Where's that other set? Yeah, this side up. Multiple sizes, which, hey, yeah, multiple sizes. So this one's a tiny bit smaller than this one, and obviously that one's huge. So that's kind of fun. But as you can see, there are some duplicates. So specimen, but the clear acrylic ones are just a bit smaller, which I kind of like. So I don't mind that I have duplicates. So that one, for that purpose, and the reason why I would grab this set and this set together is because this one has the bugs on it. And then this one, this is a great piece for background stamping. The numbers have come in handy. This guy is really fun to play with, but I really like it for this one and the numbers. Then before I go back into the Tim Holtz stuff, this is a new one I just got. It's a, what's her name? Heidi Swap. Grabbed this one because of the flowers. This little grid background, this giant label, this piece right here. Not so much the sentiments. I wouldn't probably use those very much, or the heart, but I know I'd use enough of them that I would put this into this kit. Butterflies. I don't think I have to really go into that one. This one's from Illustrated Faith. I don't know that it's available, but any butterfly stamp set would work. I think Tim Holtz has one. And then, of course, my favorite Tim Holtz ones. So this is Field Notes. This is definitely a good one for this theme. Lots of versatility on that one. And then I got the new ones most recently. So let me open this up. Okay, so I open it up. I'm going to keep these. I'm not going to keep the stamps in there, but I'm keeping this because anytime I want to make an acetate window or anything, this is very helpful. So don't throw away your packaging. That's a little tip from me to you. Okay, so I have this new one here, the tidbits. This is going to come in handy, especially for this theme of Field Notes. Love the little calendar at the bottom. I love this little measuring bit here. This one here that says identification. that's going to be super great. So, I mean, all of it's great, but those are the ones that popped out to me as like, yes, I'm going to use them a lot, probably for that. Collect, that'll be a good one. Order, just all of the things. Department, that's a good one. This is the hodgepodge. I'm really unsure how I'm going to use this. I'm pretty excited about it, but I'm also a little intimidated. So I'm going to force myself to use it, but it's got a lot of great stuff that could be used for field notes. And it's scary. I can't wait to try it. And then finally, eccentric is also a really great one for anything that's kind of in this theme of, really any theme could work for this one, because this one's got so much good stuff on it. But what I know I'll use for this particular project is this date right here, this block of dates. I really like having a round element, so this little one's been really great. And then anything with numbers, especially identification, things like that, will come in handy to use for this particular project. So I knew this was a go-to. So that's my stamps. What do we have left? We have just a few more things, and then I will just kind of round it all out with any other tips and tricks I have for you. Getting to the end here, friends. What I want to talk about now, and you might be wondering why I don't do this in the beginning of this video, but this is kind of how it works for me. I build a kit of stuff, and then I decide what I'm going to do with it, what project I'm going to make. That's not always how it goes. Sometimes it's reverse. Sometimes this part comes first, where I know I want what project I want to work on, or what construction I want, and then I'll build the kit. But right now I don't know what I want to make. So I built the kit, and now I'm going to figure out what is it I want to make. So here's kind of how I work through that process. Again, inspiration from other creatives out there in the world could be the first thing. I could see a project and go, oh, that's so cool. I want to try that. Like the accordion style little pull-out thing. I might also have something on my desk like this little notebook. This is a little field notes notebook that my friend gave me, and it's just dying to be inked up and made into something cute. So this would work. I'm not going to use it for this project because it's tiny. I would have to be specific with something like this. Same thing here. This is actually a digital that you can purchase. It came with the background papers. I just did a little stamping and inking, and it comes with the cover. It's Birder's Journal. And there's another one that I don't know what I did with. I think he gave it to my daughter. But I know when I was going through the odds and ends, there was like a little folder that said field notes. That is another one of these. Again, it's in my Etsy finds, so go take a look. So it could be a little notebook. It could be something like this, where it's already a piece that's ready to go and be embellished. So this is a Tim Holtz accordion folio. I'll go ahead and open it if you're not familiar with this. I used one of these at Christmas. I don't have that project. I put it away with my Christmas stuff, but I have used one of these before. So it comes ready to just be used and created. There's tons of cool stuff you can do with this. So I picked up another one because I really did like having something kind of ready to go. However this closes up. I'll put that away later. But this is just the Tim Holtz accordion folio. I collect envelopes. So these are all junk mail envelopes and some brand new envelopes, different colors, different shapes. This one's more of like a little bag kind. These are big envelopes. I have them in white also. So I have a pile of envelopes. Maybe I want to do one of those envelope projects. And if you've never done an envelope project, I will show you what one looks like. This is an envelope project. So I know I've put this out on my channel before, but you can see this is an envelope. This big thing is an envelope. This is an envelope. So maybe I want to do another one of these. I gotta tell you, I love this project so much. It's so fun to do. Maybe I want to do a junk journal again. So I might flip through this for my own inspiration. So this was a very inspiring project, or just creating a little signature. So maybe I want to do it that way. Then in that case, I'd probably use some of those background papers, the book pages, things like that. Here's another one that actually has an envelope, has a little signature. So I could just make a little skinny journal. It has one of those envelope projects in it. And it also is its own little cover. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is go through your projects or find inspiration from other projects. So I keep my projects. I have this clear bin here. I have this little berry box, and I also have this little tiny Tim Holtz box, and then I just have stuff on my shelving. So here's some little itty bitty ones I made. I might look at that and go, oh, I want to make one of those. I probably wouldn't on this particular project I want to embark on because, again, it's so mini. But when I'm done and I have scraps, I know what I can do with them. So this kit can go on and on and on. So I could end up making some collage cards. But what I might do is just go through my projects I've done and see if anything jumps out as me. Clearly, I really like the envelope things. Here's another envelope one. This is like more of a little ephemera holder kind of thingy. This is this is one of those accordion style ones. An envelope. These are just little projects I worked on. Here's a little book. Maybe it's a little book. Maybe it's a little book like this. This is a paper bag. My point being is that you might already have some projects that you love, that you made, that would inspire you to make your next project. Or just reach for whatever medium you prefer to use. I really like envelopes, so I have a collection of envelopes. I especially like being able to make window stuff. I also really enjoyed, let's see what's in here. Tags, here's a little book, little passport. This was a fun little experiment. This would work. I could do something larger like that. Let's see. Document thing, some tickets. You get the point. These are basically a rundown of all my projects. But it's really going to give me a starting point of what I want to create. So for the particular project I know I want to do something with, I'm leaning towards envelopes, but I also really enjoyed this process. So that comes with either collecting all the stuff and then looking at it and going, okay, what do I have? I have a lot of big things that I put in there and I kind of want to use those. So that's going to drive me in where I go with this project. Versus maybe I just start knowing I want to create a small packaged project like this. Well, then I know that my kit that I build, I'm not going to need super big pieces, but I'm going to need a lot of smaller pieces. So that would help me kind of drive where the kit building goes. Last but not least, let me just kind of go through my notes and see if there's anything else I want to share with you guys, and then go, create, do. Let's see. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is just those little odds and ends. Other things that maybe you already have and you just don't use, or you are deciding, do you want to invest in it? Things like hardware. So I have a bunch of hardware here. I actually am so excited. I just recently got the little Tim Holtz, the itty bitty clips. I found those. Oh, I'm so excited. Anyway, maybe you have this stuff and you never use it. Pull it out and put it in this kit. Force yourself to look at it and use it. Or maybe it's something you really want to try using. I would definitely recommend, if you have not started out with any hardware and you don't really know where to go, I would go with brads. Brads are the easiest because you really don't need a special tool to use them. You can poke a hole. As long as you have a pen, a pencil, a sharp scissors, a tip of a scissors, a needle, you can poke a hole and you can use a brad. So if you have no hardware yet and you're not sure where to invest, I would say start with brads. There's definitely different sizes. Another thing that I love to have are paper clips. Now these are the Tim Holtz ones. Put that down. But you can use just regular paper clips, any kind of paper clips. Paper clips are a great way to add some hardware into your project. So those are things that I would definitely add to my kit. And as I spoke before, stencils. If I was going to invest any money in a stencil, it's this one. Especially for grungy projects, it's this one by Tim Holtz. I don't know what it's called, but it's THS009. So it's an oldie but a goodie. I would go with this one for sure. Finally, I just wanted to talk through a little bit about kind of organizing your thoughts. So here's a few things I wanted to share. When I put all my kit together and I had it all on my desk the other day, and I thought to myself, I should film a video and help out some other friends. I think that this is very helpful. I know that I appreciate when other creatives give ideas on how they organize things or their thoughts or kind of how they get to where they've gotten. So I'm hopeful this is helpful to you. So just in that, I wrote down my own little note. So this is my own little note that is basically everything I just shared with you. All of the different elements, background papers, digitals, where I find them, photos, hardware, scans from my personal library, book pages, scraps, purchase kits, stickers, washi tape, odds and ends, stamps, the journal itself, like what is the physical thing going to be. So do some note taking. Go back maybe on this video and write down the elements that I talked about. Watch other creatives. When you're watching other creatives, if you're like me, sometimes you just binge other people and watch their stuff. Get yourself a piece of note paper. It doesn't this is just a piece of copy paper that my 6-year-old drew on after I wrote on it. She could have done it before and I still would have grabbed it. And I just wrote down some really cool ideas that I saw in a video. So this is actually Margaret recently shared a massive happy mail she got and went through this amazing journal. And as I was watching, I got so many ideas that I just got a piece of paper and I started writing down the ideas I saw that I want to try out. So that's one thing you can do. Or if you want to be more intentional and organized about those ideas and keep them somewhere, get yourself a notebook and just start writing things down. So this is one of my notebooks from actually quite a long time ago that I used to write when I did more scrapbooking. I put sketches in here. And, you know, I wanted to do something with cut files. I think I did like 1 page. Just different things that I wanted to keep track of, things I wanted to try. And I might even try it in the book. Like here, I had never really torn washi tape. I tore it. I wanted to try it out. Again, just different things to try, different ideas. And then if you're like me and you really want to be, I haven't used this in ages, so this didn't work for me, but I kept a notebook of just the projects I had going and the projects I wanted to do. So this would be a good example of, man, I really like this cream paper. I wish I had more of these. This would be a great example of, as you're building that kit, and maybe you start coming up with ideas of like what you can do with it. Maybe the purpose that you did is because you wanted to do like a big project, like start a junk journal. But then as you're going, you see like a little thing and you're like, gosh, this would make a really cool specimen card or a journal card. Maybe what you do is you have a book like this that you start writing down other project ideas. Like maybe you think, gosh, it'd be really fun one day to sit down and mass make some specimen cards. So I just had a bunch to add into a project. Write yourself a note, put it in a project notebook that you want to do that. So these are just ways you can help yourself be more intentional and organized when you actually do have time to sit down with that kit you've built. So I hope, friends, that this was helpful. I hope that you got something out of this video, whether it be an idea of just creating your own kit or something to add to your kit or whatever it might be. I just really hope that you found value in spending this time with me, because I certainly do appreciate you spending time with me. So with that, go make something, have fun, get out of your own way, and as I always tell the students in my school, make good choices. All right, friends, I'll see you later. Bye.